Hey there, super friends. It's Joey with Last Point Gaming. Today is Monday, March 18th, 2019. How you all doing? So, as noted on Friday, I didn't go out and play Magic at all this weekend. I did play on Arena some. I like the Allegiance draft format. I didn't mind Rixalan, though. I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't playing on Arena when Rixalan was like the newest, shiniest thing. In fact, I didn't start playing on Arena until the Guilds of Ravnica pre-release. Oh, don't hit that car. There we go. Good job, Elsa. I didn't start playing on Arena until they gave me a free code at the Guilds of Ravnica pre-release. I was like, alright, fine. I'll install it. Let's see what this is about. So, I do have a lot of Ixalan and Rixalan cards, both from other times that this draft format has been the draft format, and spending a lot of wild cards. So it's nice to really get to firm up those collections, especially, as we're going to find out, I'm sure, very soon, more about this standard extended format. I'm sorry, standard plus. It's not extended. We're not going to call it extended. We're not going to affiliate it with extended. So, it'll be nice to have those cards as the card pool gets deeper and there may be cool interactions. Finally did my taxes, and loath as I am to admit that this administration has done anything to benefit me, if you're new here, I am a bleeding heart liberal. I don't often talk politics, but when I do, you can really see that I am very... Actually, I have a hard time calling myself a liberal anymore because that's turned into a shit show too. I just want everybody to have all the rights, Equal rights for all the humans. And I don't think people should die of treatable illnesses because of a lack of ability to pay. But, that all being said, of course I'm not a big fan of the current administration. However, for the first time in, I think it's been 5 years, we are getting a small refund. But hell, when I don't even remember what I entered in, and what we owed went down to $158. I'm like, wow. Okay. All the income's in. So I don't think we can owe more than this. And that's freaking awesome. I'm afraid to touch anything that it's going to shoot back up to 3,000. And then when I finished entering stuff in, it's like, hey, you get money back this year. I'm like, are you sure? I feel like you're lying to me. So that's exciting. I'm just happy to not owe. I would have been ecstatic at breaking even, so I'm whatever that next level is that we're getting anything back. So that's what I did this weekend. Other cooler people than me did a lot more exciting things. Well, okay, that's not true. That's not all I did. We did have 3 separate birthday celebrations for my little bird for her birthday. So there is that. We don't really observe St. Patrick's Day so much in my house unless she's feeling it that year, because her birthday falls directly on St. Patrick's Day. And she got a lot of cool drawing stuff and Littlest Pet Shop toys. Who knew that was still a thing? I had those when I was, her age. God. Anyway. So, happenings at tournaments. Of course, I mostly pay attention to SCG. Austin Collins took down the Philadelphia Open with, is it Drake's? Or is it Phoenix? Sorry. Confusing it with the standard deck. It was a really cool match to watch. Some may disagree. Game 1, he got kind of painted into a corner and it was looking pretty bleak for our chipper young hero. But then games 2 and 3, some of it was amazing draws, but it was really what he did with the draws. Also, like, somewhere deep inside, 16-year-old me was very jealous of his extremely clear complexion. I want to know what kind of cleanser he's using. Hell, even now me wants to know what kind of cleanser he's using. But in any case, yeah, he's 16 years old and first Open win on Team Nova, I believe, which I think is one of the newer teams. I think over the past couple months, Team Nova and Team Tempest have sprouted up. I don't know what Inkling Custom has to do with Team Nova, but there was an Inkling Customs patch on his jersey, so that's pretty awesome. I don't know if I've mentioned before, but I follow Inkling Customs on Twitter, of course, and I adore their work. I think it's really awesome. Because pro players at, I think, what tournament was it? That they used to get tokens of themselves, like, that they could hand out to fans and stuff, and they didn't do it this year. So Inkling Customs was like, hey, if you're a pro in this tournament, I'm trying to remember which tournament it was, like, maybe Worlds? I think Worlds, maybe? I don't know. Hit us up and we'll bring you some tokens. So that was really awesome. Now, tying into things I talked about last week, there was a lot of faithless looting in the top 8. Have I changed my stance on the ban on faithless looting? Absolutely not. One, you need to give the format time to adjust. I can concede that the Arclight Phoenix decks may be a problem, though I know in the case of KCI, I advocated if they were going to ban something to just go for the throat and ban KCI itself. But due to the nature of that interaction, if they would have banned, say, Scrap Trawler, the card that turned...
Call rejected.
Rejected. The card that turned that deck on, it would only be a matter of time until a new card was printed that did something to turn that deck on again. Because Scrap Trawler was, as far as I recall, a pretty mopey card in Standard. I don't think anybody played it in Constructed. Maybe some Limited. In the case of the Arclight Phoenix deck, you figure Faithless Looting has been in Modern since the original Innistrad block, which was, like, right around the time Modern formed up. Like, not too far out from the start of Modern, maybe, like, 2-3 years. And it's been there all this time. Dredge bubbles up to the top of the format from time to time and then gets smacked back down. And it's been doing that. Now, the last time Dredge was on top, if I recall correctly, they banned Golgari Grave Troll. I'm still not sure how I feel about that. I will say, at that time, I didn't really play Modern. Well, I definitely didn't play Modern, but I wasn't even thinking of playing Modern. So there is no way I can make any kind of intelligent statement on whether or not the ban on Grave Troll was a good thing. I'd have to go back and dig through a lot of history, and that's not something I'm going to spend my time doing. So, Dredge did bubble up to the top before, and apparently had such a stranglehold that it warranted a ban before. However, in the time between, because the Grave Troll ban happened, I want to say it was like the same time they banned Summer Bloom. And I've been into Modern for a few years now. Like, back before Eldrazi Winter, because I was on shitty Red Green Tron, also known as Watermelon Tron, because red and green are watermelon. So yeah, and it was like the watered down version until I could finish it out, but then they banned Ayavugan, and Red Green Tron was not the Tron anymore. So, man, it's been a while. Because you figure that was before Battle for Zendikar. Yeah, it's been a while since the Golgari Grave Troll ban, and Dredge has been fine since. It got a fun new toy in Creeping Chill, I want to say. Oh, man. Creeping Chill and Crippling Chill, I always get those two mixed up. The black one that if you mill it, it drains for 3. So it did get that fun new toy, which has given it some oomph again. Because prior to that, Dredge was, like, you'd see it. It still got played, but it wasn't a boogeyman in the format. It wasn't, like, the kind of deck that you're like, oh, I want to make sure I have a good Dredge match. And then now Arclight Phoenix has come to the party, which you would think that Arclight Phoenix showing up would make Dredge worse, because everybody's already trying to figure out how to deal with this graveyard bullshit. But I don't know, maybe Arclight Phoenix being a good deck is a sign that the format was in a good place for Dredge. I don't know. But in any case, yeah, Arclight Phoenix is a pretty fantastic deck, actually. Ross was really onto something there. But the thing is, like, the handful of times I played against it, you know, I have a little bit of graveyard interaction in my deck. Well, in my board. You know, I have Onofenza, and now I have 2 Grafdigger's Cages, and I'm trying to remember if back the last time I played against Arclight Phoenix, if I had cages. I think I did. And I remember talking, because Vance was playing it. And I was like, yeah, I didn't put in the cages because it just didn't seem worth it. And that was probably a bad call. Because it's not just the Arclight Phoenix that you're going to hit with Grafdigger's Cage. You're going to smush the flashback on Faithless Looting. So they only get to cast it once. So, yeah, putting in cages against Arclight Phoenix is probably a good thing. But at the same time, the Phoenix portion of the deck isn't the only thing you have to worry about, especially being a creature-based deck like humans. Thing in the Ice has been, and I should, like, send Ross a fruit basket for making Thing in the Ice cool, because when that card was spoiled for Standard, Husband was, like, all about it, and he's like, this card's gonna be amazing, this card's gonna be great. So we, like, pre-ordered a playset, we opened a crap ton of them, because I think that was in Shadows, and I'm pretty sure Shadows is the set we ended up buying a case of. Back when doing trash like that seemed like a good idea. So we have like a billion Thing in the Ice, and we should really liquidate them before something happens to that deck, because if it sits on top too much longer, something very well may happen to it. I really think, because like Humans was the boogeyman of the format for like a solid 6 months. It's like, oh man, they need to ban things, they need to ban things, they need to ban things. Nothing got banned. Humans, in fact, got a couple new toys, like Knight of Autumn was a vast improvement from either Vithian Renegades or Reclamation Sage. Because now, if they never get, like, if they sided out their Blood Moons, you don't have a shitty overcosted creature. You can gain 4 life off of it if you need that, or you can make it a, big heavy hitter. The modal quality on it is what makes it vastly superior. So Humans has even gotten new toys over time, and is still not the boogeyman of the format anymore, because that's not how Modern works. A deck sits on top long enough, and then everybody builds in hate to their deck for that deck sitting on top. So the wheel of Modern turns, and what's good and what's not so great anymore shifts. And it's just how Modern goes. It goes in cycles. So I'm not into banning anything in... What was that squeaky sound? I really need to get this box out of the back of my car. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh. So, I think everybody calling for a ban on the Arclight Phoenix decks and their variants, because there's Mono Red Phoenix, which apparently isn't great, and then there's Is It, which seems to be the best, most streamlined version of the deck. There was Grixis running around for a while, and I think the black just kind of got stripped out, and they went a more dedicated path of red-blue. And, when it first popped up, people were regarding it as bad Storm. Like, if you're just going to try to cast a billion spells a turn, why not just play Storm? And I think the real reason is because Storm is very linear. It does one thing. I mean, you can argue that it does 2 things, in that you can either go for the Grape Shot or the Empty the Warrens plan, or both. But, I mean, for the most part, it just does its thing. Like, it just, jacks up the Storm count, and then tries to blow you out with a Grape Shot, or flood the field with Warren tokens. Which, is all well and fine, except, like, Rest in Peace is pretty hard on that deck, because it relies a lot on being able to recur the spells through Past in Flames. Storm's actually a pretty good matchup for me, because with all the disruptive humans, if I can get my disruptive creatures early, my Meddling Mages, my Kite Sail Freebooters, my Sin Collectors post board, then I do fine against that deck. Hell, sometimes even with just the super aggressive package, I can get there before they can. But it only does this one thing. And if you can stop that one thing from happening, then you're fine. Whereas, Is It Phoenix attacks on 2 fronts. It has its cool little graveyard shenanigans, getting a bunch of free Phoenixes onto the graveyard and everything, or onto the battlefield and everything. But a nice kind of combo with that is Thing in the Ice. And, when you put one down turn 2 and a second one down turn 3, well, or, 2 consecutive turns, not only did you get to flip their board, but you have 1 poise to do it again. Plus, if you have Phoenixes in the graveyard. My one eye is being all cloudy. It's no good. That's why I'm not allowed to wear contact lenses anymore. Anyway. And if you flip the thing pre-combat, then you bounce all their stuff back to their hand. If you cast enough spells, you get your free Phoenix. So you're swinging for a crap ton of damage. But even without the Phoenix, the other side of Thing in the Ice is a 7/8 flyer. Like, What are most decks going to do about that? Especially when you don't usually flip it the turn you put it out. On its front side, it's an 0-4, so it can block a lot of good stuff on the ground. And then once they flip it, usually it's at least the next turn. So it's no longer summoning sick, and bam, you're taking 7 to the face. Like, it's pretty crazy. Plus, things don't bounce other things or Awoken Horrors. Now, they'll bounce the Phoenixes, which, meh. Do you really care all that much? Because I feel like if you're flipping things, you're not terribly concerned about the Phoenix plan. So it's just like a really well-engineered deck. I think Modern will adjust to it. I think we'll get there. I think everybody's still recovering from creature-based decks being on top and KCI. And you just need to wait for the cycle to tick again. Also, there's Modern Horizons coming out. That's going to greatly impact the Modern format. Somebody's saying that, I think it's MTG Goldfish thinks that Force of Will's going to get printed in Horizons. God, I hope not. Really? Who the hell thinks that is a good idea? I mean, one, there's enough counterspells in Modern already. But if they were to throw in, the OG counterspell, alright, that's fine. I'm not terribly worried about that. Oh, man. This eye is really pissing me off. But Force of Will? Oh, God, that just seems awful. But whatever they put in Modern Horizons is definitely going to shake the format up. On the Versus series, they were kind of testing to see if Hymn to Torak is too broken for Modern. Spoiler, it is. So I can see why they're probably going to hold off messing with the Modern format until Horizons hits and they see what that does to the format. But I don't think Phoenix has been on top long enough to require a ban. And I mean, I know Eldrazi wasn't on top terribly long before they were like, you know what, Ivugan needs to go. But I do wonder if they weren't trying to make Modern Pro Tours a thing at that point, if the reaction to Eldrazi Winter would have been as swift as it was. Because it did make for a really boring Pro Tour. It was, hands down the best deck. But if given time to naturally progress the wheel of Modern, Doggy would it have stayed on top? I don't know. But yeah, even after the results roll in from this weekend, I'm still not sure Faithless Looting is a good ban candidate. I think if it's decided that something needs done about the Phoenix deck, you either need to go straight for Phoenix or Thing in the Ice. I just don't think Faithless Looting is really the answer. Oh, man. Paneling is coming off my garage. That can't be good. Alright, well, I'm home now, so I'm going to run. As always, if you made it this far with me, thank you very much for listening, and hopefully I'll talk to you all on Wednesday.